Hiya! I'm Ink, they them pronouns, and welcome to the Nook. This is a series I call Dungeon Deck, where we make strange monsters and NPCs for tabletop RPGs, including a creature card. Now, with that all out of the way, let's get started. Beginning with the concept, we have an interesting set of cards for today's monster. From these options, I'll choose the mermaid tail, scythy legs, leaking tubes, and horn. With this and some recent inspiration, I want to make an animatronic mermaid monster. Specifically, I want to take two major points for the visual design. One, Scott Cawthon's Desolate Hope and the tubing he puts all over the place. And two, a FNAF hand game called Chica's Party World and the mermaid scrap baby in there. Though you'll notice a bit of the marionette as well, as that's my favorite animatronic. Alrighty, now that we have the visual concept, let's move on to the lore. Since there's already a lot of FNAF inspiration for this monster, why not lead into it and take the story direction from some of both Scott Cawthon's games and Steel Wool's Secret of the Mimic? So, light thematic spoilers for those. But yeah, first off, what is this animatronic's purpose? Why was it made and what does it do? Well, we can easily say that it's to entertain children, but more specifically, I want to say that it plays music. The tubes imply an organ of some kind, but the tail is on fire. This gives us an opportunity to use one of the coolest instruments I've ever found. A pyrophonic organ. An organ that plays using fire. But that's super dangerous, and on top of that, the kids would probably be scared of her sharp legs that she uses to drag herself across the ground. So what if during the day she lived in the basement, serving as the furnace and background music? Then she only came out at night as security. But what's the setting? Like, what kind of place would accommodate a FNAF-styled animatronic? Well, the themes of abandonment that are omnipresent in FNAF, and on top of that, the abandoned factory setting of Secrets of the Mimic lends this monster to the Vacant Archipelago. For those of y'all who don't know, the Vacant Archipelago is a setting I made a while back where one day everyone left. Whether they disappeared from magic or just walked off is a mystery, but there are many animals and things that were left behind. And now, an abandoned entertainment center containing a very special animatronic will join them. So, this entertainment center will be the fantasy equivalent of a theme park. It would be built into the side of a volcano using the secondary vents and dikes that form from the side to build out a semi-underground complex. But now it's become a dungeon. So, here's the story behind that. This place was originally built by Edelyn Mariston, an artificer and ex-adventurer who got married and settled down on one of the islands in the Wayfund Archipelago. She lived with her wife, Happy Pride, for years, building arcane mechanisms until she eventually learned how to create machines that moved like people and animals, though with limited intelligence but great kindness. Edelyn decided to make a place for children to play and enjoy their days called Fazavet, a play on Fuzzy and her homeland of Aravet. This was especially fortuitous timing as the archipelago was shortly after connected to the mainland moon gates, essentially a network of portals that connected the major cities all across the continent. And with the moon gates bringing both wealthy families for vacations and mechanists to apprentice themselves to Edelyn, the retired adventurer suddenly became really busy. Having just adopted twins, she and her wife had to automate running the place as much as possible, even including watching the children. This worked for a few years until something terrible happened. Edelyn and her son were the only ones left alive in the family, and her son developed magical stains all the way down his cheeks from his constant tears. Then the animatronics, including our mermaid, started acting strange. Many of them developed stains mirroring the lonely twins' tears, but only a few weeks after, everyone disappeared. Now the animatronics are left all alone, no children to entertain, no adults to supervise them, no artificers to repair them. I wonder what's happening inside the caves of Fazavat. What horrors happen there? And what treasures may now be left behind? All right, now let's pull out that creature card and start filling it in. First off will be the name. Let's go for this monster's stage name. Of course, it has to be alliterative. So M names to go with mermaid. Mary, Marissa, too common. Let's look up some older ones. Oh, Myrtle. Myrtle is perfect. Myrtle Mermaid will be her name. Next are the abilities. These will help illustrate what our animatronic can do and how she maintains her domain within the dungeon. Scything forelimbs. This represents those 4 front limbs built into this animatronic. They're not only used to help drag this slithering mass of tubes forward, they can also be used to strike and defend just as well as any sword. Animatronic mechanisms. Myrtle has a body made of steel, gears, and pneumatic valves. It works differently than biological forms and enables this monster to both survive injuries that would send others to their graves, as well as achieve physical feats that are otherwise impossible. Pyrophonic music box. Finally, we come to the core ability of this monster. Myrtle Mermaid both heats and provides music to much of the dungeon. So when the music stops and the room cools, watch out, because she is hunting. But when you hear the alluring crooning of little pipes, fear, for they may become the burning thunder that will announce your doom. Overall, these abilities set up a threatening monster, one that plays the role of both a clear threat and a classic horror villain. Imagine having her chase your characters down the hallway. The loud thunks of her blades stabbing the floor serve as the timpani of the chase music Myrtle plays herself. You pass a thick door, drag it shut, and slide down against it, only to feel a thump as the mermaid rams against the heavy iron. Then it heats up, then it burns, then you run, then it glows, and the chase resumes as she rams straight through your only defense. Sounds scary, right? Now, imagine how your players would feel at the table, where they have to not only survive this thing, but escape with their treasure. So now we have the stats. We'll be using the D&D 5th edition stat spread, but the numbers will refer to the modifiers instead of the stats themselves. Strength and Constitution. Both will be a 5. Myrtle is a gigantic animatronic mermaid with an ability based around how strong and durable she is, so that's why she deserves such a high score. Dexterity, -1. Nothing special here. In fact, she doesn't even have any hands. Intelligence, 0. Myrtle lives in the deepest bowels of Fazavet. There's no opportunity for her to learn or study much down there. Wisdom, -1. This animatronic doesn't have much of a sense of the world outside of the dungeon, and while she acts motherly, she has the understanding of a child. On top of that, she has the horror monster vision. Once you're out of sight, you're just gone to her. Charisma, 6. Myrtle provided music for Fazavet from when it was before a dungeon, and the mermaid has gained skill and continues to use her music to manipulate those around into doing what she wants, and to give her the laughs she so dearly desires. These stats reinforce that central idea of the horror monster. Myrtle has an overpowering body, huge durability, and haunting songs that will make the entire party shiver with fear. Finally, we have the core phrases. These are a set of statements or questions that help characterize monsters and guide DMs on how to play these creatures in a unique and interesting way. Where are the children? Hearing the laughter of children from combined ventilation and audio tubes was the greatest joy of Myrtle's life. And now that's gone, she wants that back. She must have that back. Fill the world with heat and music. This was Myrtle's directive for most of her life, and only now, when everyone has disappeared, does it start to change. It's still core to who she is and what she does. This is my room. Myrtle has her own decorated furnace rooms, and anyone encroaching on that is invading her personal space. She doesn't let anyone other than her creator into her sanctum. So when adventurers waltz in to loot this place, well, they should leave. These core phrases further set the rules and general vibe for our animatronic mermaid. She'll call out for the children and complete her job until someone causes issues in her domain. And woe be unto them if they make it into her room, because they won't be there for long. At least not in one piece. Overall, this monster sets itself up as the central pillar for an entire dungeon themed around FNAF-style mascot horror. The lore builds up the theme of the environment, abilities and stats set the danger of this creature, and most of all, the core phrases fill out how Myrtle the animatronic mermaid will operate as her own terrifying threat to the players. Then, if you like this monster, I also have another video of the masked zombie who lives in the vacant archipelago. Link to that right now. And for those of y'all who are sticking around, let's go to the comments question. If you were to become an animatronic character, what creature would you be blended with? And what would be your special function to entertain the kids? Let me know your answer in the comments below. And with that, let's bring this video to a close. For those of you with dark skies, good night. And if you have bright days, good morning. Whatever part of the world you're from, I hope you have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Goodbye!